Alright guys, thank you for checking in Stormtopia.com and Stormtopia.com Facebook page. We have a daily weather update right now. Not a major snowstorm today, and in fact, I don't think some spots in the Northeast will even see a flake out of the low pressure system making its way out of the Midwest. Now, you're seeing the darker blue radar returns today over the Great Lakes as the low pressure center moves east. Those are going to begin to decay from the low pressure system as it runs out of moisture, and as it makes its way over Pennsylvania, you can already see the bands of snow starting to break up around State College or it points west. And what's going to happen here is the low pressure center makes its way east. It's really going to dry up. So today, I think that anywhere that I'm circling has a pretty low chance of seeing anything more than an isolated coating or so. And then, actually, I was on purpose that I did not circle these areas back into here. And the question is, why are these an X for snow, and these might be a check? Say I might, let's put it. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to try and put a question mark because it doesn't fit. But the reason why I see the potential for some snow coating to an inch across Long Island into southern and eastern coastal New England is that it's going to get some more moisture by the time it hits the Atlantic, and because of that, it should it could produce heavier bands of snow, which end up going up through southern New England far southern New England for a short time. But I wouldn't really look at anything substantial there either. Now let's take a look at the latest models. Obviously, still a lot of hype going around for the February 2nd through 4th storm. Admittedly, that's probably rightfully so, but let's just take a look at what the latest guidance shows. This is the 6Z GFS. Here we see a low making its way out of the Rockies. Snow's falling in earnest by early on the first. And in my opinion, this isn't really a 2nd through 4th storm, even though that was what it was labeled in the beginning. This appears, in my opinion, to be more of a 1st through 3rd storm. So you essentially cut off 24 hours from the timing and add 24 hours in the beginning. Now here you go. This is by the late on the 1st, and there's a conveyor belt of snow from the Mid-Atlantic to the Rockies, and what happens here is the low pressure center in the Rockies hands off to a new low that comes out of the Gulf, very much strengthens as it pushes northeastward. This is very heavy precipitation, very heavy snow for the Ohio Valley, all the way into New England. Really an impressive storm as of right now, showing up on the GFS, and it's been that way for the past couple of days. Now this is really a heartbreaker because you see the rain-snow line, it ends up setting up something like this. So everyone in the Mid-Atlantic really is a no-snow zone, so he's doing an NS over there. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Remember the last storm, we forecasters were looking at rain to some snow, and we didn't know what was going to happen. It could have been plowed, blah, 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 blah. And in the beginning stages, it looked something like this, just an all-rain event here for the Mid-Atlantic. I'm not saying we can't rule that out, but what I think the models aren't calculating is this, the cold layer of air that we have. And that's definitely going to provide cold air at the surface, which could change things over to snow, even though the models depict rain. Why are the models showing rain if they don't pick up on the Arctic air? Well, it's because they don't pick up on the Arctic air, colder air at the surface, even though the warmer air from the higher levels overrides. And then, but I mean, that's just the fact here, that the models aren't picking up on that. And yeah, that's essentially what we're talking about as of right now. The other thing is, when I talk about warm air and then cold air at the surface, we all get paranoid about an ice storm or something of the nature. And if you look at it, it's like definitely an all snow here, perhaps rain here. In here, there's a little slot where you can't rule out some icing. Okay. Yeah, admittedly, along the coast, if there's ice anywhere, it'd be rain along the coast. But still, you know, I'm not saying that waking up on the 4th, which is when the storm by then is probably going to be over, is going to look anything like this. Because this is probably what the Northeast parts of the Northeast would look like if some of the latest trends were to verify. So let's just take a look right now at the warm over cold thing that I've been talking about. This is the chance when this would be. Yeah, this would be on the 1st. So this would be when the storm is just getting itself started. So this would actually be not fully into the storm, perhaps the first half or something like that, there's an 80 to 90% chance of you getting at least 1/100 of an inch of ice from Virginia to southern Pennsylvania. Again, along the coast, so you're looking at rain though. And then you're chasing back into the Ohio Valley as well. Definitely is 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% chance of icing. And yeah, this is any ice, basically 1/100 of an inch. You say 1/100 of an inch, oh wow, Nick, that's going to cause some major travel disruptions. Well, 1/100 of an inch could actually glaze over the highways and cause some damage, cause some accidents. 1/10 of an inch is where it's definitely going to cause some accidents, and this is when I get worried, because there's a 40 to 60% chance of a widespread 1/10 of an inch of ice here, from the Ohio Valley back into southwest Pennsylvania could really get hit hard by this, and then parts of Virginia as well. Even the Philly metro. Ooh, look at that, huh? Look at that little stripe of ice. You look at 1/4 of an inch of ice, and oh boy, not good. Up to a 50% chance of a 1/4 of an inch of ice. Now this is the threshold where we talk about branches down, major accidents, widespread accidents, and that's up to a 50% chance being printed out by the Hydrometeorological Prediction Center probabilistic experimental winter precipitation guidance. 50% chance of over 1/4 of an inch. Up to a 1/2 an inch for significant damage, and that's where you start to really run out of data here. But we'll just have to see how this whole thing pans out, because there's the potential for not only a significant snowstorm, but possibly an ice storm as well. Just exactly what happens, that remains to be seen, so stay tuned to Stormtopia.com for the latest.